New heroes, new half shell. Let's see what happens. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my first impressions reaction to Tales of the TMNT. This is a brand new Ninja Turtles series and is a follow-up series to Mutant Mayhem, the animated film that we got last year, I believe. Now, there is plans for more movies to follow up Mutant Mayhem, but they wanted to do a series first, I guess. I know the series is not done in the same style as the movie. I know it's more, I guess you could say, traditionally animated and whatnot. So it's going to be interesting to see just how that ends up going. Now, a couple things. First off, you may notice the webcam, like what you're seeing here, the visuals look a little different. That is because I got a new webcam. If you haven't seen the video I put up about it, thank you, Venom. I got this new webcam, and it's more HD. It's not, like, exceptionally better than what I already had, but it is better. It is absolutely still better. It just looks like a little dark and everything because the lighting outside is not that great. It's been raining and stuff, so I just wish, like, it was... I just wish today was, like, you know, better, brighter weather for this. But apparently, like, from what I noticed when I was, like, experimenting, this webcam actually adjusts based on, like, lighting as well. Because I tested it out with the ring light, and it actually adjusted the lighting based on having the ring light on and what setting I had it to. So that's really interesting. I assume it'll still look better no matter what, though, if the, you know, outside light coming in through the window over here is better. But, I mean, not much I can do about that. So, yeah. Another thing to note, if you are new to the channel and don't know what a first impression reaction is, let me illuminate you real quick. So a first impression reaction is pretty much exactly as it sounds. I give a first impression to a series. I check out the first episode, sometimes maybe the second as well, and I tell you what I think about it. This is usually done for shows that I'm not sure if I want to react to. Because I just don't know what I'm going to think about them and whatnot. So, I give it a first impression. It's like, okay, do I want to continue reacting to this? Would I rather watch this on my own time? Or do I just not find any interest in it and I'm going to drop it? Those three options are what comes of this, no matter what. One of those three options will be what I choose. If I choose to continue reacting to it, it'll be put into a list. I have an entire list of series that I choose from and everything that are first impressions continuations. And I choose from those every time a slot opens up for a first impressions reaction. And lately I've been doing like this wheel randomizer because I've been enjoying doing that. And I've been using that to decide as of late. And I think that's been a really good idea. I think that's really helped keep it a little more fair. Because that way it's just not, I'm not just putting things on hold forever. I actually get to come back to things that I want to check out again. I get to come back to things I want to check out again. But I'm not the one technically choosing it. So it could be anything from the list. But I don't know what I'm going to think about this. Because it's like, with the movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, I was a little mixed. It was better than I thought it was going to be. But there were some things about it that I just feel like weren't the best, weren't like executed exceptionally well. And mind you, that can happen with any movie, any series, and hell, I've seen cases where a series that was based on a movie and everything improved on some of that stuff. It's like, oh, this works better as a series. It's just a matter of what it's going to do with this. I do know the original voice cast from the movie is returning. For the most part, I don't think Jackie Chan is back in this as Splinter. I don't think he is. But the turtles, I know, are the same voices. It's the same versions of the characters. You still have like the I believe, and I might get the name wrong. I really apologize if I do. I think it's Ayo Edebiri. I believe she's back as April. And I think mostly everyone else is too. Like I think all the other mutants are the same, and there's probably other like guest names in this that I just don't know at the moment. But I doubt they got Jackie Chan back for this. If they did, I will be genuinely surprised. So I don't know like exactly what this series entails. I think it just follows up where the movie left off. You know, the turtles are going to school with April now. The entire city of New York knows about them. And it's probably going to deal with more mutant stuff because this iteration seems to be really focused on that. Really in tune with the mutant aspect of it all. And the different mutants that we've already encountered and new ones that we will. And I like that concept. That is one thing I definitely like about it, because mutants sometimes take a back seat in TMNT projects, and sometimes it's just like, oh, there's a few mutants here and there, but it's not like the huge focus. So I'm glad to see that. We've also got like setups for Shredder and everything, but I don't think we're going to get Shredder in this series. This is a 12-episode series, and there's not even a confirmation if we're going to get a season 2, to my knowledge. I believe the creators have said they want to make one, but there's nothing like confirmed and planned out yet. But they are working on another movie, and that's probably where Shredder's going to come in. This sequel series is probably going to just focus on like the woman we had in the movie. I don't know her name. But it's probably going to be focused on her. The one who was like after Baxter Stockman and all. And I'm expecting, just like the movie, the humor is going to feature a lot of references. I hope not as much. Because that was one of my biggest issues with the movie. It was way too reference heavy. It went way too hard with that, and it felt a little forced. It's like, oh, we're gonna reference everything in pop culture. It feels like they're just trying too hard when they do that. It's like, okay, a couple references here and there, fine, that's great. Donnie being into anime, I like that concept. I think Donnie would be into anime. But it's like you don't have to make every single reference. A couple references here and there are fine. The Attack on Titan reference that was in the movie, cool. That's a good reference. Having Gojo, a sticker of Gojo on Donnie's weapon, cool. That's a good reference. That's not even said. But like every single reference they make, it got to be a little too much. So I hope they tone that down in this series a little bit. As for the characters, I really like what they did with them. But there's certain points of humor that's like, okay, we have like ooze mutants and stuff. We got to be gross about it. It's like, you don't need to have gross out humor. Please stay away from the gross out humor. There were a couple moments in the movie that were just bad. Like the entire thing with April projectile vomiting everywhere. It's like, that wasn't funny. Projectile vomit humor is not funny. It's really not. There's ways that you can make it work, but even so, it's never going to be that funny, even at its best. It's poop humor, basically. It's the equivalent of poop humor, fart humor, etc. It's bodily expelling humor. it's the lowest form of humor. People say puns are the lowest form of humor. No, no, no. Poop humor, fart humor, vomit humor, that's the lowest form of humor. It's never going to be as good as pretty much anything else. Any other option is better. But, I mean, humor is subjective. If you're into that, whatever. I'm not. I don't get it. You're allowed to like what you like, but I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to like it myself, so... Sorry? But yeah. Hopefully we end up really enjoying this. Hopefully it ends up being better. But we shall see. I'll just leave it off here, and we'll, of course, give our afterthoughts after it cuts to black and back in, after we have the little moment with the next, or the schedule and everything. You get the idea. I'll let you know when the afterthoughts start, of course. But I think we should get into this now and check it out. And hopefully it ends up impressing me. So let's see this first episode of Tales of the TMNT. Cutting in here real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday, as well as Let's Plays. We currently alternate between Horizon Forbidden West and Baldur's Gate 3 every day, as well as have Nier Automata on Saturdays. And don't forget to follow the link in the description below to today's reaction. I do redirect all reactions just due to copyright. And on top of that, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more awesome content like this. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get to today's reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, yeah, I don't know if that's what they're going to do, like, have a 4-part premiere. That would be wild, considering it's, like, 12 episodes. So it's, like, that would be, like, a third of the entire series. But I could kind of see them doing that. That would be really interesting and actually really work to highlight each of the main characters in their own episode right off the bat. I actually think that would be a fun idea. So let's talk about it. So first off, with the voice actor thing, I want to really quickly mention here the entire thing with Master Splinter. So it's very clear that they couldn't get Jackie Chan back. And I don't know if it's just because they couldn't afford to get him back for this series, or if it's because of the controversies. Because Jackie Chan's had a bit of controversies in the past years. And I don't know if that's had anything to do with it, but maybe it's possible. It could just be because of the pay thing. It's hard to say. But either way, they couldn't get him back for the series, so they get around that pretty creatively by having him speak Vermin, basically his native language as a rat, as for the purpose of connecting more with Scumbug, who, as we know from the movie, only speaks Vermin. Scumbug does not speak English at all. So I think that's a really creative way to get around it, and the fact that all of the turtles understand what he's saying, but we can't, so we have to go based on their translation and responses, I think that's pretty clever. That is a genuinely clever way to get about it. So, moving forward, references. Since that was one of my big things in the pre-thoughts that I was talking about, there are definitely a lot of references here. And, I mean, visual references, absolutely fine. Like, especially with there being a costume party, a Halloween party, that's a great place to put in references. Like, the people dressed as SpongeBob and Patrick, for example. And there were definitely others that I just wouldn't have caught, but those two were the ones I caught, like, for sure. And that makes sense. Nickelodeon, all that jazz. always been the home of the Turtles. Well, not always. Turtles were on WB, I think, as well, Kids WB, and I think they were on Foxbox, I want to say. So actually, they've been all over the place, but I think lately they've been more Nickelodeon owned. But it makes sense still. It works, even if I'm not a fan of SpongeBob myself. Really, really not a fan of it. It's still a logical thing, and people would absolutely dress up as SpongeBob and Patrick. But yeah, that's a great place to put references and stuff. Um, Otherwise, there were like references to like Google and Wikipedia and stuff like that. And it's like it wasn't super distracting in this, but it's clear that they're definitely going to keep making a lot of references. It's very clear that they are not done with that. That is going to just be a thing for the rest of this series and going into the next movie and stuff. It's just gonna be a thing. I just really hope that they don't go super overboard with it. I want it to remain like just, you know, grounded. If it's too reference heavy, it just starts to feel like forced and all. So, and I get it. I get that people in real life will make references to things that they like, shows, games, etc., etc. But when you're doing it so constantly in a series like this, again, it just feels super forced. So I really hope that they just hold back a bit on it. Now, this episode, the very first episode of this series, focusing on just Leo, only works because this is a follow-up to the film. And with the first episode, it's also made very clear that you are supposed to have seen the film. It doesn't take any time to introduce these characters or make anything known. Like, you are just in on it. You're just supposed to know these characters already. You're supposed to understand where they're coming from, what they've been through, what has led up to this point. And I like that. I like that it's not holding back, and it is directly a follow-up. It's not just, oh, it takes place in the same world, the same canon, but we're still going to take the time for anyone who might not have seen the movie to introduce everything over and over again. No, I like that it doesn't do that because it allows the time to focus on the story and what's actually going on. And so, in this, we get Bishop, who is the woman from the movie that we saw, and we kind of didn't really get her entire motivation in the film. I don't think, at least. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. But I don't think it fully explained her motivation in the movie. But here we find out that she believes that mutants are just inherently dangerous just because they're mutants. I wonder what this is a reference to. I wonder what this is trying to parallel in real life. Could this be racism? Could this be shit like that? I wonder. It's so blatantly obvious. It's so blatantly obvious. Because in real life, like, you'll hear stuff like this all the time where it's like, oh, black people are, like, dangerous and, you know, trouble because it's... I hate saying it because it's so fucking dumb and terrible and evil, but this is what people say. This is what these racist assholes say. They say shit like, oh, it's in their nature to be violent, to be criminals and stuff. People actually fucking say stupid shit like that, and it's horrific. And it's not just black people, it's anyone of color, pretty much. Black people, Hispanic people, Asian people get all these horrifically harmful stereotypes thrown at them. And it's mostly by these old white men who are, like, basing these stereotypes off of like one or two examples, one or two circumstances, and just trying to like use that as a blanket reason to hate on and be bigoted towards everyone in that demographic. And it's the same thing with queer people. It's absolutely the same fucking thing with queer people. If one trans person does one bad thing, suddenly every single trans person is evil. It's fucking stupid. Like, it's almost funny how fucking dumb it is. Because it's like, it's not only fucking terrible and bigoted and evil, but it's just so goddamn dumb. Because there's no, like, inherent logic to it. It's literally a logical fallacy. In fact, I think it's a couple logical fallacies. But the most notable that I'm thinking of at the moment is guilty by association. It's like, you're part of this group that one person from this group happened to be bad in. And so because you're part of the same group, you have to be guilty as well. It's like, what the fuck kind of logic is that? It's so dumb. It is so dumb. But it's how these people think. And Bishop seems to be the same kind of thing, thinking all mutants are trouble, all mutants are evil, just because they're mutants. She's basically Bellows from Owl House, with his thoughts on, like, witches and demons and all. Except, at least for now, not as insane and evil. Though she's still insane and evil, just, you know, it's hard to get to that level where you're at Bellows level. He did a lot. Now I want to look up something real quick here. Got my trusty phone to do so. I'm not the most knowledgeable about TMNT lore and characters. I want to see, is Bishop a character who's normally in the series? Yes. Yes, okay. Agent Bishop is a special agent of the United States government, head of the Earth Protection Force, an antagonist and occasional ally of the Ninja Turtles. The character was created for the 2003 series. Okay, so the character was specifically for that series. I did see probably not all of it, but a lot of the 2003 series. I did watch it. And it seems like Bishop is usually portrayed as a male, so we have a gender-bent Bishop here. So Bishop is a character that exists. I don't know if the previous versions have been the same. I don't think Bishop was in what I saw of Rise of the TMNT. And I've only seen the first episode of the other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, which we are going to continue that one, by the way. Just letting you know that still. We are planning on still continuing that. So I don't know if he's in either of those series. Or if Bishop was already gender bent by that point, or if that's new for this one. I don't know. But yeah. I don't know the character super well. It's not like Krang or Shredder or anyone like that who I know. Like I said, I'm a casual TMNT fan. I'm not like the most knowledgeable about lore and villains and characters and stuff. There's a lot that I'm just not going to know or recognize, so yeah. This first episode was good though. I will say that. I haven't actually said that yet, so just to specify my thoughts here. I did really like this episode. I like the banter between Leo and April. Though April was the best part of the movie too, so to be fair, that's not a surprise. The voice acting was really good. The art and animation, let's talk about that. The art style is definitely unique, and it's trying to be different from the movie. Probably for budget reasons, they probably couldn't do the same style. The animation, though, is like it's really good during high action sequences, but on non-action sequences, it does have a noticeable dip. You could say it's like just the style of the series and everything. It's trying to be stylistic like the movie did, but it has a noticeable dip in quality, in my opinion, where it's like, even with the style, it just feels like it's holding back because of budget reasons. I don't know if this series just didn't get that huge of a budget, but it almost seems like either that's the case, or they just spent their budget on other things like paying the actors and whatnot, and that's fair, mind you, but still. The concept of like fighting the robots and everything, robots are a very TMNT thing. There's a lot of that in there, so I like that as like kind of a first antagonist to this, outside of, Bishop herself. I also like having that the brothers were split up, because if they do it to where each of these first 4 episodes are focused on a different brother, I think that would be just a really cool idea, and again, it allows each of them a chance to shine. And we also get to see their, how do I put it? Their insecurities and whatnot through this, because we see Leo's trouble with, believing in himself here. Seeing himself as a person, outside of just the team dynamic. We could see, like, maybe Mikey having issues with taking things seriously. Maybe Raph with his anger problems, and Donnie with maybe overanalyzing the situation, stuff like that. I don't know if that's going to be what it's going to focus on with each of them, but that's just as an idea. It could be other things, too. I think this was a good, strong start, though. I think that this episode set the tone for this and really worked it. It also feels like it's trying to get away with some interesting stuff that I was a little surprised by. Like the crotch shot, and actively calling out that it's a crotch shot. It's like, that's like a tiny bit risky. Like, that's not like crude, stupid humor, like poop humor or anything. That's like more like little tiny bit risky humor. It's not like that bad, but like still, it's like wild. And then seeing the robot like limp away while bleeding oil and stuff. It's like, that's a very common trick that animators and stuff have used for a lot of shows and movies and stuff. It's a way to kind of show blood and gore without showing blood and gore. Use oil. Because if you have robotic characters, it allows it to like basically do the same thing and be kind of as gruesome, just without needing to actually show blood and gore, because that would not get past the censors for a kids show. Or a show marketed at kids, So I think that I've always liked that. I've always liked that trope. The pacing was also really good in this. I haven't specifically talked about that yet. I really did like the pacing. Nothing felt like it was going too fast. Nothing felt too slow. I was a little wary at the beginning of the fact that they just skipped past the trap and the battle and everything. But as the episode went along, I realized, and especially once they like did the flashback thing through Leo's comic books, I got what they were going for there. And it's like, okay, that actually works. I'm actually okay with that. I think that they did that well. And yeah, I just think that was well paced. I think it felt right for the 22 minutes or so runtime that we had. So yeah, a good strong first episode. But now we have to get to the question of, is this something I would rather watch on my own time, or do I want to react to it in the future? Because it's obviously not a drop. I mean, that much is clear. And I'm saying react. This is 12 episodes, and if it's like this level of quality, or even at least close, I think I'm good with that. I think I'm good with that at this point. And it seems, at least for now, like it's going to be very story focused, which is definitely more my kind of thing. I think I'm going to be able to enjoy this. So I'm going to say yes. We are going to continue this in the future. Do not know when, just whenever we end up getting to it, it's going to be on the list, and we will get back to it at some point. If the wheel chooses it, maybe at that point. But thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of the format of this all, and obviously no spoilers. Do not tell me anything that's going to happen. I want to remain as spoiler-free as possible, per usual, on this series. So thank you so much once again, and for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.